Welcome back to the 5-7 podcast. I'm your host, Mike Pre, and today I have Esteban Ramirez with me. How you doing, Esteban?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. How's your day going?
It's been good. It's been a real busy week. I'm a general manager at a MMA gym. It's a fitness gym too, but we got a lot of big things going on over there. So it's been a real busy week.
Where are you located at?
Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've always been a fan of like MMA for a while now, but as far as like really training and really getting deep into it, it's probably been like a year, 9 months now.
Okay. And are you training in any specific discipline or is there something that you're...
Everything, man.
Okay.
A lot of people ask me like, well, you have to have a favorite one. And my thing is like, I'm not saying I'm a tough guy at all, but my thing is like, if I ever get in a position like where if somebody wants to fight me on the ground, we can go there. If you want to stand up and bang, we can go there too. I'm not saying I'm going to win, but
yeah.
I want to be ready for wherever the fight has to go.
Yeah. And when you train for that stuff, dude, I mean, you're already kind of ahead of the game in a little bit.
Yes. So what was the question?
No. What I'm saying is that when you train, you're already a little bit ahead of the game because you're. I mean, especially if you get into a fight, because some dude, he might be really, really amped up and like ready to go, and you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, that's now I'm sure you listen to Joe Rogan, bro. I feel like I'm on the Joe Rogan podcast right now. But
thanks, man.
He talks about this dude. He's like a super high level Muay Thai fighter, and this guy, I think he was talking, maybe it was a situation. He was like, imagine like you're drunk, right, and you're going at this guy who's a professional fighter, and you have these intentions, like you just want to hit him, right, and you're just full of anger, and all the Thai guy has to do is just wait and block, and then you realize like, okay, like you're tired now. That took 30 seconds, and I'm not tired at all, so I can pick you apart. I think, and Rogan talks about this like. Fighting is like a real life like superhero skill. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I could beat everybody up, but as far as like against like an average person, it's really a superhero skill.
Yeah, especially when I saw some training with these guys like hitting bamboo trees with their shins, like trying to strengthen their shins. Man, that stuff is nuts. I mean, it's watching Muay Thai, man. It's incredibly entertaining, and I wonder why it hasn't taken off, so much, considering how entertaining it is.
Well, I think as far as the U.S., and I could be wrong, but football, baseball, and basketball are the main sports.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere baseball is dying out a little bit.
Really?
But the UFC, MMA is trending like really hard. Like that's becoming cool. Like you're seeing celebrities doing jiu-jitsu, and like Wiz Khalifa, he's getting into Muay Thai and all that stuff. I think it's already gotten real big. As far as like, I think UFC's only been around for like 25, 26 years, but it's one of the fastest growing sports right now.
Yeah, you definitely do see a lot of celebrities doing it nowadays. I don't know if you remember Paul Walker. He was in those Fast and Furious movies, and he was, I think when he died, he was like a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Dang, that's I did not know that.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. He was like undercover with it.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, man. Like so I was actually talking about this a few days ago when I walked into the gym for the first time. I saw this guy in there. I've never met him before, I've never seen him in my life, but I was just thinking like, man, because at the time of my life, like, well, not at that point, but before, I was willing to go against anybody. I had that mentality, like I feel like most people do. Is like I can defend myself if I had to. And when I saw him, I was like, damn, if I was at a party, and I was drunk, I would try to fight him. But now watching him in here is like, you really don't know what people can do to you. Yeah. It's scary. There's savages out there that are the nicest people that ever.
That's probably why they're so nice, because they're so savage, that they're just like, exactly. They like revert back to something else, They're like, I don't even have to worry about anything because I'm such a savage.
Yeah.
So you know what, man? I know that you have a very interesting story, and I'd like you to go ahead and start sharing your story.
All right, sweetheart. So I'm gonna get into this. If I start getting off track, or you want me to talk more about something, just feel free to cut me off and let me know. But so I don't even. So if I were to start this, it probably was towards the end of high school. I want to say like the end of my like senior year. That's when I started getting involved in the wrong crowd, and I started smoking a lot more. And
Like just
one
smoking
thing
weed?
led to, yeah, just smoking weed. And then um, one day we ended up with this bottle of Klonopins, and I missed like a whole week of my life. It was probably one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me. But I couldn't remember a week. It was just um, like parts. Like I would remember like a little bit of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, and to me it just felt like all one big day. And I was super scared after that, but I didn't really stop doing it. I kept getting high off pills, which would be like benzos. I'm pretty sure it's like Xanax and stuff like that. And I left my parents' house and I started living with some. I apologize for that. So I started living with some people that were really into other things, like worse than just smoking. And I was also involved in a pretty toxic relationship at the time, and I didn't see it. You know, I mean, I'm still a kid. I consider myself a kid. I'm only 21. I turned 22 in a couple of days, but um, I guess I got heartbroken. I'm not trying to sound corny, but
It happens, dude. It happens.
Yeah,
I think every guy out there has gotten his heart broken.
Exactly. So that's when I really started getting involved with Xanax. I remember, like I was working at Ruby. What's that restaurant with the salads?
Ruby Tuesdays.
Ruby Tuesdays. Yeah, and I hated working there. And I remember I would take a Xanax because my process was like, okay, if I go ahead and take it in the beginning of my shift, I won't even remember the next couple hours. So by the time I leave, I'm good, you know, and that like, and I didn't realize that that was going to lead to addiction, which is kind of obvious. But at the time, like with all the stuff that I thought were really big problems in my life, that wasn't that big of a deal. And I started getting into painkillers a little bit. It was just a little bit here and there. And I met this guy, and he gave me this opportunity, like I said, and I don't know if you watched the whole YouTube video that I made about my addiction, but I don't claim to be El Chapo or nothing like that. But I was making enough money to support myself. Nobody else was supporting my habits. I was able to pay for new clothes, like a little bit of jewelry, um, and so that was just really like with weed, and then it just led into harder things for me to move. And I, instead of saving a good bit of the money, I was just getting high off my own supply. And yeah, like that, I don't know, that just, like, since I had almost felt like an unlimited access to it, I just kept taking it and taking it. And fast forward to the day that I OD, I took 2 Xanaxes in the morning and I put it inside my little Fanta and I drank it. And even during that time with my pills and all that stuff, I was never much of a drinker, but that day I decided to drink. And I was very intoxicated, and we went to a party that night, and I snorted some Percocets, it was Perc 30s, and then from there I drove home, and I remember snorting like maybe I was on like my fourth or fifth one.
Wow.
And I woke up. Yeah, I woke up and I was in an ambulance, and I had no idea what was going on. I remember, I think I blacked out again. I woke up and there was doctors all around me. And I had this oxygen mask in my face, and I kept taking it off. And I was like, I can't breathe. And the doctor was like, well, if you keep on taking that off, you're going to die. And then I blacked out again. And I woke up. My father was beside me. A bunch of my family was there. And I have a different set of friends, right? But like, I have 3 people, and I'm sure maybe you have this too. Like, they've been my friends since high school, and even though I didn't talk to them during my dark point in my life, they were still there for me when I woke up. Like my true friends.
Yeah.
And I had this big tube in my mouth. I don't know exactly what it was for, but they pulled that thing out. I swear it was like this long. When I started shaking, and then I passed out, woke up, and then that's when I started talking to my family. I didn't really. I was going through withdrawals. I didn't have like the cold sweats or nothing, but I had restless legs. I remember going to go watch Wonder Woman, and I couldn't even sit down and watch the whole thing. Like I had to leave because I needed to snort some pills, some painkillers, and so after the OD, like I said, I didn't learn my lesson. I was still snorting pills, and one night I took some acid, and I was going through Snapchat, and like on the stories, it saves all your old stories.
Yeah.
And I saw from like I guess in the trip, like where everything first started, and then to the pictures of me in the hospital. And I just looked at myself in the mirror, and I'll sound crazy when I say this, but I was also tripping really hard. So I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, dude, you're a loser. You're nothing. Like, you're disappointing your family. Like, well, what are you doing with your life? Like, you should have just died. Like, there's no point for you to be here right now. And like, I am not lying. Like, I was hitting myself in the face. Like, I think that's where the MMA career really took off, where I found out, like, okay, this might be for me. but no, I started hitting myself, and I was like, okay, I got to change. And so my ex at the time, or my ex, she had her mom has some painkillers at her house.
Was this the same girl that you were dating before that you said you were in a toxic relationship with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And her mom has some perk fives, and I remember we stole them, and I would just do a little bit at a time, just to help me sleep and just to make that feeling go away. And nobody would sell me any painkillers. Just obviously what happened. And that ran out, and I was still having the withdrawals. So I would take Adderall, and it was not a very good game plan, but I took Adderall, and I would stay up for like 2 days just so my body would have to crash. And I would try to smoke, but that wouldn't really satisfy what I guess my body wanted and needed, I guess. And one day I fell asleep with nothing, like nothing. And that's when I realized, like, okay, like I'm good now. And that's when I say that I got sober, for like a whole year. I think I drank once or twice. I think I smoked, like once, but I just hit it, like, I think it was at a New Year's party. But
Sure.
Even to this day, like I go out rarely. I drink rarely. But yeah, I'm pretty much sober, like, besides, like, that's why I don't like saying like I'm 100% clean, but I am, but I'm not. Like, I can go out and have one drink. It doesn't, like, for some people, I think having one drink will bring them back to what they were doing before. Yeah. But for me, it's not like that. And also, I've never really liked alcohol like that, so I can enjoy a drink or two, an occasional getting a little buzz and stuff. But yeah.
Would you say that maybe there is a they say that some people have like an addiction type of personality. Would you say that you do not have like that personality trait?
Oh no, I'm definitely an addict. Okay. I am, even like, even as far as like MMA. So how I got into that, it was December of, well, in 2019, I think it was December 2017. So no, it was in January, last year, January. My friend brought me to the gym. At the time, they had a month trial there, and I went one day and just kept going every single day. I'm addicted to that. Okay. I'm addicted to being at the gym, but I also think that having that personality trait, I'm gonna have to send it to you. It's on a TED Talk, but it talks about how being an addict is good for the business world. It's this dude who used to be an addict, and now he runs his multi-million-dollar business. I really look up to that. I haven't looked up more about him, but in that video, I really love that because I could relate to it. But yeah, I think you can use things. I think we all have traits that can be a bad thing and a good thing, mm-hmm. but also we kind of have a choice, unless, like, there's something that's really, really wrong, and you do really need medicine for it. But in my case, I I can use that energy or whatever you want to call it in a good way.
What kind of painkillers were you taking?
Really anything I could get my hands on. Perks, Vicodin. So I mean, they could have been 5, 7.5, 30s. Fentanyl. I've shot up before. That I never got it. Well, I only I only shot up twice in a day. But I really, really any painkiller, methadones, anything.
Is fentanyl pretty easy to get your hands on, or just for people in general?
So where I'm at, and really, now you can look that stuff on Vice. I think anywhere in the U.S., really around the world, everything's pressed with fentanyl.
Yeah,
a lot of things are, unless you're getting it prescribed. A lot of people are getting things that are pressed with fentanyl. It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's
Mm-hmm.
with the the opioid crisis going on right now. It seems like I read somewhere a comment from somebody on social media. Someone was like, how did this happen? So quickly. But it's been going on for quite a while.
Yeah, for sure. It's sad, and just to think that, and I don't remember what it was or what it is now, but just knowing that I would have just been a number, and
Yeah, that's nuts.
I think that's one of the craziest things too. Like just knowing that I could have been there, one of the people that died from that.
Did you have any kind of spiritual experience?
So I have a friend. So the friend that brought me to the gym, he's an atheist, right?
Okay.
And I love that. I love him to death. I believe there's something out there. I think there's something greater. I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you. Um, but one thing that I grew up as a Christian. And I was thinking, so I didn't see nothing. Every time I blacked out, it was black and it was dark. And I was just thinking, so what if hell isn't, because I wasn't a good person. I wasn't a good person. So I'm assuming if there wasn't heaven and hell, I'd be going to hell. And 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 it was just black. And so I was thinking, well, what if it's not fire and demons everywhere, but it's your greatest fear?
Yeah.
Or and for me, like, I'd be damn scared if I was just in a black room and I couldn't see nothing and there was nobody there, and just being lonely like that.
Yeah.
And then me and him talking, he's an atheist, so he has something for that. But yeah, I guess that was pretty spiritual. Like I've had some crazy things happen since then, and I've talked to priests and stuff about it. But I don't know. It's just wild. The world's weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's I kind of believe somewhat in. I grew up a Catholic, but I also believe that there is like energy and stuff like that, and I think that maybe that falls into religion in a way, because
Yeah.
I mean, that's what religion is. It's believing in something, and but everything isn't accounted for,
Yeah.
So if someone were to say that they had some type of experience, and someone else says, of some kind of some type of religious principle is like, no, that's, you were just hallucinating. It's like, well, who do you say what kind of experience they had?
Yeah.
That's why I was curious about that. So at what point were you like, okay, so you slept without anything one night, and then you went to the gym. When was it where you were like, I'm like free. I'm free from doing doing drugs?
I couldn't tell you like exactly what day it was. I just remember that there was a moment where I realized I didn't need nothing.
Okay.
But the crazy thing is, like, for some reason in my head, I just thought, like, okay, the goal is all I have to do is get sober, and then my life is good. And then once I got sober, I realized, I was like, damn, like, I need to get like a job that pays good. I need to get a car. I need to get my license. Like, there's so much stuff I still need to do. Like, being sober, I mean, obviously it mattered for me big time, but for some reason I just thought life was over and it was gonna be just a good time after that.
Yeah.
But there were still more struggles I had to overcome.
Yeah.
You know, so I wouldn't say that there was ever.
Would you say that they were good struggles that you had to get through?
Oh yeah, like it was very rough. But I'm glad I went through it. I had my dad as a big support. So really, when I got sober, I was alone. In that, I mean, I had my family to talk to, but I mean, they'll even tell yourself. I had to overcome that myself. But one thing that I really remember my dad telling me is something good has to come out of this. He said, "I know this happened sucks, and we knew something like this was either going to happen or you're going to be in jail." But we can turn this into something good, And there was a point in time, like when I moved back in with my parents, like probably like 2 or 3 times a week, I would call my dad and just be like, "Yo, Dad, I'm sad. Like, I don't know what's wrong." I'm not a doctor. Maybe I was very depressed. I mean, it is a pretty traumatic experience.
Yeah.
But I don't like to use that for myself because I don't want it to be an excuse to hold me back. But I remember, like, I was working a job I didn't like. I was working in a factory. There's nothing wrong with that, but for me, that's not what I wanted. And but I just remember just crying, like just alone, and just feeling by myself. And back to I'm probably gonna go back to my dad a lot because I love this man. I look up to him. But he told me, like, he said, "Son, like, you know how many times I wanted to drink when I knew that you were out there doing stuff, but I knew I couldn't because I wouldn't be dealing with my problem. I would just be pushing it back." And he would tell me, like, "Look, like, deal with it, be sad, and take that head on."
That hit.
Because if not, take that head on, the sadness, the depression, and go after it. Because if I wouldn't be able to talk to you, and hopefully one listener out there, this could change their life. If I would have just drank and pushed that to the side, instead of crying those nights, instead of, like, just being there by myself dealing with that. Obviously, I'm a lot better now. Sometimes I get a little sad about it, but, things are going good right now. Like, great. Now, that was June 7th, 2017. It's probably been, like a little over 2 years now. And it's crazy. I've done like 180 change on my life. It's ridiculous. I can't believe I still feel like I'm dreaming.
No kidding.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. The change, especially when you feel yourself going in a positive direction, it's kind of like, I always think of like hard times or when you have face some kind of tribulation, it's like this is just part of the deal. I'm going to get through this. It's always hard, but I'm going to get through it. And then when I do get through it, I'll be, kind of coasting again or what have you, getting ready for the next, tribulation. I think that generally, like, people somewhat have, they're adverse to having challenges in their life. And they think when they have those challenges that, they're like, "Oh, it's bad for me," or "Here we go again," type of a thing, instead of just thinking of it as this is just what it is, and you're a strong person and you'll get through it. And someone, one day they told me, strong, what was it? Hard times don't last, but hard people do. And I've always kept that in the back of my head.
I love that. I one thing that I told myself, like those nights that I was, real sad and just really thinking about it, I told myself, like, if a year from now I am letting this hold me back, then I should just die.
That's a little harsh.
Seriously. Well, yeah, but that's the only way that I could have looked at it. Like, at least for me, I'm not telling everybody, like, yo, if you don't do good in a year, just end it. but for me, that's how. And now that I'm saying it, like, out loud like this, like, I sound like a crazy person. but seriously, man, like, I told myself, like, if I don't change my life and make this better within a year, I should just end it. That should be it. Because I'm letting this hold me back.
Yeah.
Because if not, what's the point? What's the whole point of all of this? Like, and that goes back with my dad saying like something good has to come out of this. If that good doesn't happen within a year or something good, I'm not saying like be a big time YouTuber, be famous or nothing like that, but like
just being successful.
In my own way of being happy. That's the goal for me. I just want to be happy, bro. Like I have a lot of, not a lot of people, but I have people tell me like, yo, you should go to school, like all this, blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, like I'll go to school if I have to. Right now, there's no reason for me to, but like I not that I don't like planning for the future, but my thing is like, I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
Because my life could have ended, boom, right there. I think I was like 19.
Wow.
Right there. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how much money I had. It didn't matter if I got my master's. None of that. My life could end right now. I could be on this podcast and it'd all be done. And imagine if I wouldn't, like, and that might sound crazy again, but if I were to die right now on this podcast, I would be okay with it. I don't want to die.
Yeah, dude, that'd be freaking brutal.
Yeah. You might get a lot of views on it, though.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm not looking for like that kind of attention.
No, but honestly, so if I were to pass away right now on this podcast, I would be okay with it because I'm leaving a good story for my family to tell now. If I would have passed away that day, it would have been hard. Like, how as a parent you're gonna tell people that, yeah, my son was a drug addict and he died.
Yeah.
But now if I were to pass away, they can say he accomplished so much. He's helped change people's lives. Like, I've had people come to the gym. Like, I'm not playing at all, man. Like, they've came to the gym like, yo, I've seen your story. And I've been going through the same thing, whether it's depression, addiction. They're like, I feel like this is going to work for me because it worked for you. Like, I've had people, and it's, at the time I was like, what the heck? Like, I'm just a regular dude.
Yeah.
And I still feel like a regular dude, but I'll be okay passing away right now at this moment, knowing that I've done good and my family can say he changed his life and he became a better person. Like, that's my goal at the end of all of this. You know, obviously when I have kids, I want them to be able to have good lives and support their families and stuff. But I want to leave a great story for my friends and family to tell. That's one of my biggest goals on the day that I pass away.
Maybe you should make your next goal for having a good story for your children that say give you a little bit more time, you know?
Yeah.
What happened with that chick that you were dating?
So I when after the day that I took the acid, even though I was still doing drugs, like weaning myself off of it, she really wasn't. She was still trying to party and do all that stuff. And I remember just telling her, like, look, I'm going to keep getting better without you, like with or without you, you know? And that's just how it's going to go. Like, I remember sitting in this car. It was her car because I didn't have my car. But we were driving, or I was driving, and there was this speech, and it was like, I can, I will, I must. And the guy was like, I can do this, I will do this, I must do it. And he's talking to the crowd in this video. It's a motivational speech, and he's yelling it, and the crowd is yelling it back. And I'm in my car, bro. I hope nobody got me on video, but I was yelling, crying in the car, I can, I will, I must. And that day, I feel like it was that day, a couple of days later, I had told her, like, look, I'm going to keep making my life better with or without you. At this point, like, at that point, I was like, I'm willing to leave anybody behind who doesn't need to be here. I'm ready to make my circle to me if that's what it has to come to.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then eventually that's what ended up happening. And I told her, I was like, look, I'm gonna leave you behind, and I left it behind. You know, if not, I don't think I'd be where I'm at right now. And I'm not famous, and I'm not no big time anything, but I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I think that's a really healthy way of dealing with things, because a lot of times when people break up with someone, they kind of let it linger on for a while. You know, they break up, but they're still hooking up and stuff like that, and they don't really just like end things, or kind of just walk away. You know, and to tell somebody, I think that's what I'm going to tell everybody from now on, man. Just say, hey, look, I'm looking to grow in a way that you're not looking to grow, and it's okay. This relationship has ran its course. This kind of stuff happens all the time. We don't need to kid ourselves about it.
So one thing that I've told this to teammates at my gym, friends, the girl that I'm currently dating too, like me and you right now are on the same path, right? As far as like YouTubing, you're doing a different thing than what I'm doing, but right now we're connected because we're talking right now. If you fall off, or like if you fall off, but you're doing good things, then I'm proud of you. I'll support you. I'll post you on everything that I got. And for example, let's say you get hooked on drugs, I'll hit you up, bro. Or if you stop posting videos, I'll hit you up, be like, yo, man, like, is everything all right? And after like a month or two, I'll still hit you up, but it's like, yo, if you're not gonna change and get better, I can't help you. I can keep saying these things, but if you're not going to take it and run with it and use it, then at the end of the day, that's on you. Right. So like I have like my 3 good friends that were there when I woke up in the hospital. One's in the military, one started a family, the other one's a social media like marketer or whatever. That's what he does for a living. And I love all 3 of them to death. I would do anything for them. And I hardly see them. I don't talk to them too much. Sometimes we talk shit on the little group message, but but I love them to death. But they understand too, like, we're not connected in the path right now. We're all connected in the path of success, but one's military, family, social media, and MMA gym. But at the same time, I'm still rooting for them. And if they were to fall off, like, they best believe I'm gonna hit them up and be on them about it. But at the end of the day, that's not going to stop me from doing what I need to do. Just like when I got hooked on drugs, their life kept going up. They kept doing better. And that's just, I think some people don't understand that, but it's part of life. And I feel like if you're trying to have any success, it's what you got to do.
Yeah, I don't think any good friend would want to hold their friends back, especially like their good friends. Yeah. Dude, I got three really good friends that kind of like the same thing. That's actually how the 5-7 started. We used to call ourselves the 5-7 back in the day, and and that's kind of like where the idea of the podcast came. I haven't really gotten into that, and I haven't really talked about it on the podcast yet, which I'm sure I'll do in the future. I might have everybody on one day, like all 3 of us. My cousin was on the podcast with me earlier, and we started a business recently, so he's kind of running that. Awesome. So I'm kind of running the podcast on my own. And but like you said, dude, it's like we're all on like the same path. I would say, like, I guess you could say, like, going towards success, but everybody has to do their own thing. Everybody has to. Yeah. I mean, that's just how adult life is. We can't hang out every day like we used to when we were 16. And everybody has their own family, so they have their own motivations to do. But we'll all be there for each other.
No, yeah, and I think. I learned that real quick. I'm not mad about it. I said they were the ones that were there out of everybody, my family and them and their family to me, so I'm blessed to have friends like that. And I'm sure you're blessed to have friends like that too.
Yeah, it is. So what do you have going on in the future? Like what's headed down the road for you?
Dang, hopefully a lot of stuff, man. Hopefully, I became general manager at our gym. It's a small gym right now, but we're making real big moves. And hopefully what it seems like is like I'm going to be a big part on the growth, which is great. I've been putting in work there. The YouTube channel that I started is doing quick. I think in the past 7 days, we jumped up like 50 subscribers, 47 subscribers, awesome. Something like that. Yeah. And I also referee street beefs. And I don't know if you've heard of them or saw that on my channel. They almost got like 1 million subscribers on there. But like I'm pretty good friends with the guy who runs it. So he's been showing a lot of love. It's great to have that as like instead of starting out with nothing. I have backup from them, which is great. Like I appreciate. I don't even know how that happened. He just told me to make a YouTube, and we got started on it. And so
what is that? Is that like Kimbo Slice fights or something like that?
Kind of. It's backyard fighting. It's pretty cool. You gotta look it up. Street Beefs. You'll see me back there refereeing with this shirt on right here. Yeah, I think they're planning on moving, doing like Street Beefs in California, because right now it's based in my hometown, which is crazy. You know, like, so I'll be talking to him because he comes to our gym, and I'm like, I was like, bro, I forget that you're famous sometimes. He was like, yeah, me too. He's such a cool dude. But yeah, so they're planning on going to Mike Tyson's ranch and doing fights over there. And from what I know and what he's told me is that I'm going to be going over there with him. Also doing some fights in Brazil at some points, and I'm going to be going over there too. Okay. So hopefully big moves. But for now, I'm going to keep doing my thing, man, posting my videos. And just keep doing that, fighting, training.
That's awesome, dude. Hey, man, yeah. I really appreciate you coming up on the podcast, man. I really enjoyed your story.
Yeah, dude, this is awesome. I feel like I'm on Joe Rogan right now. I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, I'm so nervous. But yeah, dude, it's just an honor. I love what you're doing on here. And definitely like I want to do this again sometime. This is awesome. I want to start my own little podcast too.
Like an MMA podcast or something like that?
Whatever, it don't matter. I'm a big talker. I can talk whatever. So I just enjoy talking.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I'll have to have you back on. We can just catch up and see how you're doing, see how things are going for you.
All right, awesome, man. Sounds good.
Well, hey, man. Once again, can you let everybody know like what your social media pages are and how they can follow you?
Yeah. So my YouTube channel. I'm gonna zoom in on this a little bit. Lord Besteban. That's the YouTube. I do fight breakdowns for Street Beefs. I also do exclusive interviews with their fighters. Follow me on Instagram. So that's at Besteban _2_. I don't be using Twitter, so don't worry about
Twitter's
that.
Twitter's weird, man. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I get lost, dude, when people start commenting. I lose it, dude. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm at.
Right, there's so much stuff on there. But Facebook, I just started a page. I think like 4 days ago, we just hit 100 likes on there. That's awesome. Go like that. That's Lord Besteban, and yeah, that's all my handles right there.
Awesome, man. And I'll also put a link for the pages in the description as well.
Awesome.
But hey, man, once again, thank you for coming on, man, and I really appreciate it. And
yeah, bro,
that's all we got for you today, guys. This is Pre out.